Imagine this. You're taking a stroll through a park on a leisurely Thursday afternoon, and your adventurous spirit gets the best of you. You're walking alongside a river and you discover a massive tree that's fallen over. You want to jump on top of the tree and walk along it to the other end, but you're not sure if you can get to it in the first place because of a gigantic gap between where you are and where you need to go. And you're also not sure if the tree can hold your weight. The tree's right next to a river, and if it can't hold your weight, or if it's poorly positioned alongside this beach, you're gonna fall right in. So what do? Do you let your fear get the best of you and do you walk away? Or do you make a different decision and honor your spirit of adventure? For me, the spirit of adventure always beats fear. But this isn't the case for everyone. And there are really good reasons for that. There are really good reasons why we let fear make decisions for us. Fear is designed to protect us from danger. In the situation that I find myself in, danger would be represented by failing to make the leap from the plot of sturdy ground beside this fallen tree and the roots of the tree that help me get to the trunk of the tree where I'm standing now. If I'm not able to make that leap and I catch my shoelaces on a free bit of root, then I could fall over and injure my body. I could fall over and then fall about 6 feet to 10 feet downward, where I might hurt myself, or where at the very least my clothes will get all muddy and I'll have to go back home in a muddy car. But in our evolutionary history, the dangers that we faced were much different. As we evolved as human beings, we needed to have fear to protect us. We needed to use fear and its energy to get us to flee from predators that could kill us if we couldn't outrun them. We needed fear to pump us with adrenaline and cortisol to give us the ability to fight when our back was against the wall. And in some cases, when we couldn't run away and we couldn't fight back, we needed fear to cause our body to shut down so we could freeze in the face of a predator, which would see us as a non-threat if we played dead. In our evolutionary history, we needed fear to protect us. We also needed fear to alarm us to potential threats. Not actual threats, but potential threats. If I have one life to live and I don't take seriously potential threats, my negligence in dealing with potential danger around me could get me hurt and killed. If, as I walk alongside this tree, I don't exaggerate the potential danger of this tree rolling over into the river and forcing me to roll into the river along with it, then I would be in a position where, because I minimize a threat, I could potentially harm myself. Evolutionarily, the threat exaggeration that we developed encouraged us to be risk averse so that we could avoid unnecessary danger and maintain safety that could help us preserve our lives. Even though we no longer live in the evolutionary contexts that made fear necessary and that made it necessary for us to exaggerate danger in order to protect ourselves, we still need fear in our lives today, and we still have benefit to gain from exaggerating danger around us. In your everyday lives, you can think of the benefit that fear has to offer you. There are certainly moments in your day-to-day life when having fear of some physical harm protects you from getting injured. Socially, there are moments when having healthy fear can protect you from being disrespected or violated or taken advantage of by other people. Even legally and in business, having a dose of fear can keep you away from people who will harm your legal reputation or your business reputation. When it comes to being risk averse A certain hesitancy to take risks can prevent you from making poor decisions that will harm you in the long run. Having both fear and risk aversion are valuable to us on a daily basis, even if we don't live in the evolutionary contexts that developed these traits. However, one of the difficulties that we're posed with when it comes to fear and risk aversion is that these traits can cause us to distort reality and exaggerate danger. In particular, these traits can turn fear from a healthily protective instinct into something that makes false evidence appear real. When fear causes us to distort reality and see non-danger as danger, it prevents us from taking action that we would like to take or that we need to take to get some benefit or to further our lives. As I stand here on this gigantic fallen tree, having moved all the way from that side to my current location right now, what I really want to do is I want to complete the entire journey from side 1 to side number 2, all the way up to the tip as far as I can go, just to satisfy my spirit of adventure. If I let fear get in my way and it causes false evidence to appear real, I'm going to run into several problems that are going to prevent me from satisfying my spirit of adventure. So I want to just go walk this way to the tip as far as I can take you, just to talk about a few of the ways in which fear can cause us to distort reality, and to start to give a few tips about how to deal with reality distorting fear. In this situation, if my fear caused me to distort reality, I could think of a couple of things that would prevent me from going all the way to the tip of this branch. For one, I might think that the branch is too old and decayed, and as a result, it won't be able to bear my weight as I step out onto the end of the branch. Then it might crack and I'll fall below and hurt myself. Number two, it could cause me to think that I'm falling from a much higher height than I'm actually falling from, and that when I hit the water, I will have dropped from maybe a story or 2 stories up in the air. And number three, it could cause me to think that the water that's underneath this branch right here hides rocks. Now, I can't see what's underneath that water from where I'm at right now, but if I felt really afraid, I could think that what is underneath that murky water is not soft sand, but rather hard rock. Fear can really cause us to distort reality in a way that's not realistic. So how do I know that that fear is not realistic? Well, the short answer is that I don't. I don't know that that fear is unrealistic until I test it. So here are a few tips to test potentially reality distorting fear so that you're no longer held back by it, and so that you can move forward and take whatever action you want to or need to take for your life. Number 1, increase your ability to deal with the consequences of taking whatever action you want to take. What that means in this situation is that if I fear falling off this ledge, I need to practice what I would do to deal with that as a consequence. So what that might mean in this situation is literally practicing how to deal with a fall. So as you watch me sit here on this ledge, what that might mean is that I come up with a strategy to protect my body if a fall occurs. So what that might mean is me figuring out where I'm going to stand if the branch falls. That might mean jumping back this way. That might mean taking a trusty step downward to a safer area where there's stability in case the branch falls. Or that might very literally mean learning how to take a jump from the branch into the water in a safe way so that I can be protected. If I do each of those things, then I won't be as afraid of that branch falling. When you develop the skill to deal with feared consequences, those consequences are no longer scary to you. They're just things that might happen that you know how to deal with. The second thing that I can do to reduce my fear and no longer distort it such that I exaggerate the danger that is before me is just to test my perceptions of reality. What that means in this situation is testing how sturdy the branch actually is. Finally, number 3, in order to stop distorting reality and having excess fear keep you from taking whatever action you want to take small, tiny steps toward taking the action that you want to take. In other words, gradually expose yourself to your fear so that you can learn that the fear that you're making out into this giant monster isn't actually that big of a fear. So what that means in this instance is that I take tiny steps forward, just like that, and soothe myself as I take each of those steps forward and reward myself and feel the pride of taking each of those steps forward so that I can learn that I have the ability to deal with that fear and move forward to whatever goal it is that I'm pursuing in my life. When we do each of these things, when we build skills to deal with our fears, when we change our perceptions of our fears, and when we gradually expose ourselves to those fears, naturally what starts to happen is that we start to distort reality less. And fear truly becomes false evidence appearing real rather than something that's cueing us into a natural danger. The truth is that fear has its value. Fear can protect us from danger. Evolutionarily, that was the case, and it's still the case to this day. However, on many occasions, our fear causes us to distort reality. So it becomes our imperative to learn how to manage fear so that fear doesn't manage us and take us away from the goals that we are more than capable of achieving. With Solitude Speaks, this is Carwin, and I hope you have a great day.